Okay, thank you. So I'm listening to these testimonies, and I'm kind of feeling more and more small. Because the things that were on my heart and the way I was planning on expressing them aren't as eloquent as Kiki. And God knows I'm not as prepared as Vasily is. In fact, even though Pastor, if you remember on Mother's Day, a couple of the mothers who spoke said, well, Pastor called us at the last minute. And that wasn't the case. He gave me plenty of time, and all week long I'm saying, okay, what am I going to talk about? What am I going to talk about? Last night, what am I going to talk about? As I fell asleep on the couch. And my wife said, did you get everything prepared? So I'm humbled, I guess, at the effort that goes into speaking. But what I thought I would share a little bit is kind of some of the background of our family, and then I guess my perception now as a father. So when Jeannie and I got married the weekend after Jeannie graduated from college. So we were married very young. I was 20, she was 21. And I continued in college for another couple of years because I switched majors and decided I was going to go into nursing. But we wisely decided to start our family after I finished school and after I finished graduate school. And you know that many of you know that we have 3 kids. 2 of them are here right now. And also, just to add a little bit to it, as Vasily was talking about, I am pleased with you, I am pleased with you, both of my kids turned around and looked at me like, with an evil eye, like, yes, I know I haven't spent much time saying that, so I am pleased with you. So when we were planning our family, it was something that we both wanted. We were kind of in agreement right away. We agreed upon it when we were dating. We planned on having kids when we were engaged. And then our first years of marriage, we talked about what do we have to put in place in order to have kids. Despite all of the talk and all of the planning, we weren't ready for being parents. And I often wonder why, with so many generations, we don't learn from the previous generation, but it seems like we have to learn ourselves all over again. And there are things that we carry from our parents, obviously, but it just seems to be much different when you're right there in the middle of it and feeling that responsibility of having your own family, your own kids, and raising that. So we read many of the popular books at the time and watched the current shows on parenting. We had just moved from Rochester, New York to Enfield when Matthew was born, and we started attending Living Waters. We moved in 81, summer of 81, and Matthew was born in January of 82. Between that period of those 6 months or so, we came to Living Waters maybe 2 or 3 times. We were kind of getting ourselves settled. But then after Matthew was born, we came to Living Waters consistently and ever since then. And the best thing that we did those early years as being young parents was develop relationships with people in the church, with other families, young families, other people who had kids already, some with grown. And those relationships, I think, helped us become better parents because we shared, we fellowshipped with other people on what was going on and how do we handle things, and kind of sharing our own stories and learning from that. So I think fellowship is one of the best gifts that God has given us. I mean, it really carries us through our Christian life. Vasily already showed one of the scriptures, Proverbs 22:6, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. And one of the things in my own testimony of being a father was reading Proverbs very frequently. it has a lot of wisdom there. It was written by Solomon, and that was his request of God, to get a double portion of wisdom. But I'm certainly not an expert at being a father, and I know I'm not the best father, and I've made many mistakes, and I followed up. Sometimes I didn't know I made a mistake until afterwards, but I would pray to God regularly, frequently, that he would smooth it over and that people wouldn't have any lasting effects because of my own mistakes. But I do know in all of that I'm confident that there's nothing that would shake that my heart is for my kids, for their spiritual health, for their physical health, for their well-being, for their success in life. That is like one of the things that's there just regularly and consistently. So I mentioned reading the book of Proverbs, and I'm not sure if Pastor remembers this, but one of the things in some of the Wednesday night groups when I was able to come was a challenge from Pastor. He did it several times, of reading a chapter of Proverbs every day. There's 31 chapters. You get through the whole book in 1 month, and then you can start all over again. And I did that multiple times. And so it gives us great instruction on how to live our lives and how to be an example to others, as Vasily was saying, and Kiki as well, on how to be a father and a mother. That scripture, Proverbs 22:6, is certainly clear. But fatherhood doesn't end after a child is born, or after they start going to school, or when they finish high school. And sometimes I hear this from people, like when my wife was away or she was at work, and they'll say, "Oh, you're babysitting your kids." I don't babysit my kids when they were small. I'm a father. That's I'm spending time with them. I'm with them. So being a father, and it probably wasn't something I recognized early on, but being a father is going to be with me for as long as I'm alive. I often, and this part came to me when I thought of Carolyn Mornow's testimony on Mother's Day, when she came and kind of gave very specific, practical ways of how she continues to be a mother and a grandmother. And so one of the things that I've kind of resisted in my life was to do anything that was rote or habitual. It might have been from Catholic catechism or something as a reaction to that, because I didn't think being habitual on anything was really spiritual. But I learned, at least for me, if I don't develop certain habits consistently, a lot of times things don't happen. So if I didn't develop a habit of praying, I could go for days, for a week, longer than that without praying. And so what I did develop over time is I have to pray every day. I have to pray multiple times. And so to me now, in my stage of life of being a father to grown kids, it's that consistent prayer that I have to keep going to God with for lots of things, but my family is always the first group I pray. So the habit I have developed and I'm using now, and I just use that as my own example, is I have to pray, even a simple prayer, but when I wake up, I have to pray just to get started. When I go to bed, I have to pray. And then during the day, and the part that is probably my most consistent and longest prayer time is driving to work. I happen to have about an hour commute, one direction and the other. A lot of time to pray. And it's amazing how I can travel that hour's period of time and then all of a sudden realize I'm at work. How did I get here? It's a little scary, I guess, but but I'm with God, so I figure, I have some kind of grace over me at that point. So it's not just those specific times that I developed a habit about praying, but also how do I pray? So I kind of also look at people are always my first prayer. Besides blessing God, I shouldn't say people is my first. I try to start off with blessing God for the day, blessing Him for all the things that He's given us. As Kiki said, bless is a new day. Every morning is a new day. And blessing God for that. And then I pray for people and my families first, and then pastor and people in the church are second, and then friends and people I work with are third. And then I move on to things to pray about, whether it's things that in the local community or different issues that are going on. But to me, that regular prayer and being involved in my kids' lives and situations is one of the core elements of fatherhood at this stage in my life. So I'm proud of each one of my kids. I'm proud, yes, for their accomplishments, because they've all are doing well, but also for their spirits, for their attitude, because you could just, when we get together or the three of them are together in our house and I hear the chit-chat going back and forth, it just brings joy to me. Even when they kind of argue and whatever, it's still fun. So I wanted to end by reading Proverbs 3, since I mentioned several times that Proverbs was very important. And I kind of labeled this how to be successful in life. So Proverbs 3, the entire chapter. My son, do not forget my teaching, but keep my commands in your heart, for they will prolong your life many years and bring you peace and prosperity. Let love and faithfulness never leave you. Bind them around your neck, write them on the tablet of your heart. Then you will win favor and a good name in the sight of God and man. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and shun evil. This will bring health to your body and nourishment to your bones. Honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruits of all your crops. Then your barns will be filled to overflowing, and your vats will brim over with new wine. My son, do not despise the Lord's discipline, and do not resent his rebuke, because the Lord disciplines those he loves, as a father the son he delights in. Blessed are those who find wisdom, those who gain understanding, for she is more profitable than silver and yields better returns than gold. She is more precious than rubies. Nothing you desire can compare with her. Long life is in her right hand, and in her left hand are riches and honor. Her ways are pleasant ways, and all her paths are peace. She is a tree of life to those who take hold of her. Those who hold her fast will be blessed. By wisdom the Lord laid the earth's foundations. By understanding he set the heavens in place. By his knowledge the watery depths were divided, and the clouds let drop the dew. My son, do not let wisdom and understanding out of your sight. Preserve sound judgment and discretion. They will be life for you, an ornament to grace your neck. Then you will go on your way in safety, and your foot will not stumble. When you lie down, you will not be afraid. When you lie down, your sleep will be sweet. Have no fear of sudden disaster or the ruin that overtakes the wicked, for the Lord will be at your side and will keep your foot from being snared. Do not withhold good from those to whom it is due, when it is in your power to act. Do not say to your neighbor, come back tomorrow and I'll give it to you, when you already have it with you. Do not plot harm against your neighbor who lives trustfully near you. Do not accuse anyone for no reason when they have done you no harm. Do not envy the violent or choose any of their ways, for the Lord detests the perverse but takes the upright into his confidence. The Lord's curse is on the house of the wicked, but he blesses the home of the righteous. He mocks proud mockers, but shows favor to the humble and oppressed. The wise inherit honor, but fools get only shame. It's the way of life for us, and this is, I think, just the direction that I look at a lot in trying to manage my own life.